21K in, 90K back. This is a brand that started up with us back in end of November, early December. As you can see, I did a previous period comparison, so you know that I'm just not faking the results here. We actually started completely from scratch, and then we generated about 90K in revenue over the past three and a half or so months. This is a brand that started up with us for our Google Ads setup offer. What we do is completely from scratch. We go into your ad account, we set up the Performance Max, shopping, search, display, Google Merchant Center, conversion tracking, really the whole spiel with Google Ads so that you can actually get success quick. And we typically offer this within a 60-day time frame. So 60 days is typically a good standpoint for us to know, okay, how can we scale up the account? How can we grow it? And how can we really get it from zero to actually getting a 3 to 4x return on ad spend consistently like this? And this is a brand that also opted in to continue with us managing the account. So as you can see, I mean, we started off back early December, like I said. And then I think the beauty of it is looking at the consistency in the sale growth, really proportionate to spend as we started to climb up in terms of spend. The conversion started to increase as well. Obviously, conversion value fluctuates. This is a store where they rely heavily on sample sales, but occasionally they have larger B2B orders or people buy a ton in bulk. So really the people that were getting through the door back in December, January, February, they could be coming back in March, April, May, purchasing larger orders. And that's exactly what we saw end of March. We had some massive orders here. So wanted to dive into the account structure to really show you how we set this up and how we're also planning to scale this past, whatever we are at now, right now, 21, 22K. We want to get this past 50K per month and spend profitably around a 3 to 4x, which I think is very realistic for this brand. Ton of search volume. So let's dive right in. So looking at the campaign structure, it's very simple. We actually run two countries here, US and Canada, US being really the main catalyst and player here. So we have 5 core campaigns that we're running. And what I want to focus on is the fact that most of the budget is going to non-branded terms. So within the Feed Only Performance Max campaign, basically what we've done, instead of running a full Performance Max campaign where you have YouTube, display, Gmail, search, we've only included the product and no other type of assets so that Google can only serve in shopping placements. Also, it does a little bit of dynamic remarketing and YouTube remarketing, but 95% of the spend here is going to shopping. And we can also check the channel performance report to actually see that and verify, which again, like I said, 95%. And then we're spending like 70-80% of our budget just towards this campaign. So getting us around a 2 to 1 or so ROAS on the front end. But again, what I want to emphasize is the fact that we're bringing customers to the door because the offer is so fantastic. It's $20 so sample with free shipping. And then we're sending, email kind of reminders to the person to say, hey, how was your sample? Are you coming back to order more? Again, not a service we offer, but obviously consulting on that front because it's a whole ecosystem as well. So that's another component of it. And then really what we're optimizing towards, instead of just telling Google, try to get us a 3 or 4x return on ad spend, what we're actually doing here is let's get that cost per sample sale as low as possible because again, we're optimizing for new customers by the fact that brand is excluded and we've also excluded remarketing audiences, which is a newer feature. There's the brand exclusion in Performance Max, and then we also added as a negative keyword. So really it's bulletproof in terms of not serving branded traffic. And then again, those later sales might be picked up in our brand campaign, both the search and the branded shopping, which we started more recently. And really, again, with the branded search, what I want to highlight is we're on manual CPC. I do not want to run a target return on ad spend on this. Why? Is because you'll be overpaying for your own brand. If you think about it, you have 100% impression share, meaning of the 10 searches, let's say for your brand, you show up for 9 or 10 of them. Switching to optimizing for conversions is not going to unlock any more market share for you, right? So there's no point to actually switch onto that. And what's going to happen is Google's just going to inflate your bids. So that's obviously not something you want to do. And then something we have in addition to that is a competitor campaign, running it on manual CPC right now just to have costs as low as possible. Newer campaign that we just launched, but again, idea is going to be to move towards a TCPA for this so that we can actually optimize our visibility on the results page for competitor queries based on people that are actually likely to convert and not just bidding on traffic. So that's also something I want to emphasize is the fact that every campaign and bid strategy is playing a purpose. We know exactly what we're doing. Also, the reason branded shopping isn't on target return on ad spend is because it's easier to control the branded queries that way. Because if you set a super high target return on ad spend and exclude all of your non-branded terms, the only way really Google can achieve your ROAS target is by targeting branded terms. So again, that's why we have a controlled budget. But again, with search, it's a lot more robust. Manual, you target the exact keywords you want. So that's what we do. Okay, so let's talk about next steps, what we're going to continue doing. Number one is, as you see, we don't really have a non-branded search campaign. The reason being, it didn't perform great. So the main bottleneck there, and I like to run kind of an analysis of understanding, okay, where did we drop off? We had great CTR, we had cheap clicks, quality score was great. What was happening was there's disconnect on the landing page. So now we're building out a more robust landing page, which talks about the fact that people can get a free sample. They literally low-hanging fruit, no reason they shouldn't buy. And then that funnels them to a collection or a specific type of product that we know most people are buying. And we're using the data from the Feed Only Performance Max campaign to see which products are selling the most of, and then trying to replicate that on search because, again, another placement, and more importantly, you're getting more real estate on the results page. Obviously, there's those shopping results, but there's also search that appears below it. So if somebody's searching XYZ search term, whatever your product category is, you want to be dominating both listings because the chance that somebody actually clicks through and engages with one of your ads is so much more likely than if you're just showing one product in one of the shopping carousels. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. So layering in search campaigns and then scaling that upwards as well. And really, we're just taking some of the best performing queries here, starting them with search campaigns, literally just a few keywords because there's so much demand. And then what we've layered in as well, which I don't have in the screen share, is Microsoft ads as well. We really just mirrored the approach as Google. So instead of doing a feed only performance max, I like to do a standard shopping campaign on Microsoft ads. And then I pair that with a branded search campaign. Once we start to get some results, then we start layering in the kind of full shebang, the full ecosystem like we see on Google. And again, that's just going to be another platform very similar to Google, which is typically under leveraged, and we can get super cheap CPCs. And I think one of the highlights as well is the fact that our cost per clicks are super, super low. And the reason for that is because we've really optimized the feed. Every single component that Google actually wants to have, be that your product identifiers or your UPC codes, it's easy for it to match searches to your actual product. Our product types, Google knows exactly what our product type is for the different product categories that we have. And this is a massive store, so ensuring that's mapped correctly for the different categories is super important. We've set up custom labels to kind of target different themes of products. We've had other feed-only performance max campaigns active, but they just didn't perform as well for other categories. But everything's very specific with targeting. And then when we add in new products, let's say there's new products on the site, they automatically sync into these labels, so there's no manual back and forth and no downtime, right? We always focus on the new products we want to test, and we really optimize for that top quality score badge in Google Merchant Center, because that's really an indicator. Are you performing above average as a store? And Google is going to reward you with better ranking because you're providing users with a better experience, higher click-through rate. Google's making more money. Its users are happy. It's going to reward you with cheaper clicks as well, which is, again, going to help us get a better return on ad spend. So again, it's interesting for the fact that for a store where we're not even really optimizing for return on ad spend directly, we're still getting around that 4x return on ad spend with 350 sales generated. So again, next steps are going to be layering in Microsoft, scaling it up to almost like Google's level, depending on demand there. Continue to increase the feed only performance max campaign until we start to see CPC spike up, which means we're just paying a premium for the same traffic. That's where I'll start to segment out, add different product categories, even layer in top of funnel YouTube campaigns to really just drive, again, more awareness, more demand to funnel into our shopping campaigns, manifesting it ourselves, and then also scaling up a competitor's campaign because there's a ton of other big players, but they don't have the same offering like us, like the free samples that I mentioned. So that's definitely something we're going to want to layer in. So if this is something you want to implement for your own brand, you can book a call with us and we'll give you more info about really how we can set this up and replicate the success for your exact brand.